Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM. Twese hamwe birashoboka. Buri wese abigize ibye twatsinda burundu akarengane na ruswa. U Rwanda ruzira ruswa n'akarengane mu cyerekezo 2050. Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM.
We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
Good evening, dear listener. Thank you for tuning in. This is Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM, broadcasting from Kigali. Here, the news in English, brought to you by Alvin Umgali. The headlines. President Paul Kagame will be among several leaders to be honored with the African Icon Award at the inaugural African Heritage Concert and Awards. Senators have elected François-Xavier Kalinda as the new Senate President, replacing Augustin Iyamuremye, who resigned recently on grounds of illness. President Paul Kagame has consoled children involved in a school bus accident on Monday, January 9th, and wished them a quick recovery. The foreign minister announced on Monday China's new foreign minister, Qin Gang, is starting his term with a week-long trip to 5 African countries. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa said Sunday his ruling African National Congress, ANC, was determined to fight against the crime and corruption after a series of graft scandals have damaged the party's popularity. We'll be back with news in detail. President Paul Kagame will be among several leaders to be honored with the African Icon Award at the inaugural African Heritage Concert and Awards. The African Heritage Concert and Awards event honoring distinguished African personalities is scheduled for April 1st in Kigali. It will be a celebration and global recognition of Africans' outstanding achievements in business, politics, philanthropy, entertainment, arts and culture, science and technology, and social innovation, include those living in the diaspora. Others to be awarded include former Tanzanian President late John Magufuli and former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan. Apart from conferring international prestige and recognition, the award is meant to highlight the critical importance of culture and leadership as key factors in African socio-economic and political development. The award recognizes individuals who have empowered and influenced their people to pave the way for sustainable and equitable development. The event is also intended to change the global perception of Africans and to generate the critical mass required to achieve cultural evolution and revolution in sustainable development. Senators have elected François-Xavier Kalinda as the new Senate President, replacing Augustin Iyamuremye, who resigned recently on grounds of illness. Kalinda was appointed by President Paul Kagame on January 6th and took the oath of office on Monday in an event presided over the President. Following his swearing-in, senators held an election to replace Iyamuremye, whose seat was officially declared vacant after his resignation. Kalinda, aged 60, is a former member of the East African Legislative Assembly, EALA, and a member of the Social Democratic Party, PSD. Kalinda stood unchallenged after Senator Adri Umuhire, who had been fronted, pulled out, citing that women already filled two of the three positions in the chamber's top leadership. In his acceptance speech, Kalinda said, "I want to thank the President for entrusting me with these new responsibilities of being a senator. I promise I will deliver on the commitments I outlined in taking the oath. I will work with all institutions to continue serving Rwandans." He added that, "I thank my fellow senators for entrusting me to lead them as the Senate President. I promise my utmost commitment and cooperation with everyone. I will seek advice and listen to everyone in order to serve Rwandans." He joined EALA in 2015, replacing Celestin Kabahizi, who had resigned. Kalinda served 2 terms in the Regional Assembly until 2022. He will be assisted by 2 vice presidents, including Esperance Nyirasafari, the vice president in charge of legislation and government oversight, and Alivera Mukabaramba, vice president in charge of economic affairs. Rwanda's Senate is composed of 26 members who serve for a 5-year term, renewable once. The Traffic Police Department has said that in a road accident involving a school bus on Monday, January 9th, a total of 25 children have been injured. The bus driver and the teacher were injured in the accident that happened at around 8 a.m. No deaths were recorded. The senior superintendent of police, Rene Irere, the traffic police spokesman, told the national broadcaster RBA. The children were going to begin their second term studies at Path to Success Primary School when the accident happened in Rebero area in Kigarama sector, Kichujiro district. The bus was coming down a steep road in Rebero when it crashed into a forested area a few kilometers from the school. The cause of this accident is not yet clear, but the injured children have been taken to different hospitals in Kigali city. President Paul Kagame, using his Twitter handle, said, "I learned about a school bus accident that happened in Rebero this morning. We wish all the children a speedy recovery and we comfort their families. We're here doing everything possible to ensure that all the children involved in the accident are treated appropriately." Officials at the University Teaching Hospital of Kigali CHUK say they received 17 people, including the driver and teacher. Most of them sustained minor injuries, and the one child was to be referred to a surgical operation. The Director General of CHUK, Dr. Tarsis Munga, told the New Times on Monday afternoon, "We hope their condition will improve because they are under treatment." Nyarugenge District Hospital received one child who sustained minor injuries from the accident, but the child has been discharged. In Ngombo sector, Rusizi district, the Sextantial Lodge on Lake Kivu's Ngombo Island, roughly 22 square kilometers, and also Rwanda's largest island, is set to host the 250 million Rwandan francs facility set to be unveiled by February this year. Speaking to the New Times in an exclusive interview, Daniel Kilgren, founder of the project, said the development launches with 2 thatched roof huts inspired by exhibits in the Ethnographic Museum in Butare. This is the 3rd property to have been developed by the conservation-minded hotel group Sextantio, whose other retreats in Matera and Santo Stefano di Sassano have helped preserve the disappearing architectural heritage of rural southern Italy. He said in Rwanda the infrastructure is built in a vernacular style with bamboo and straw-like structures. The huts' arched entrances offer the only natural light, though each doomed hut is equipped with modern comforts such as electricity and hot water. The opening to the public is scheduled for the end of January 2023. The investment is around 250 million Rwandan francs. Kilgren says our strategy is to look for a development model based on the identity of places. The construction was funded individually, and that its proceeds benefit Sextantio Onless, a non-profit he founded in 2008 to provide health insurance to area residents with treatable diseases like malaria. Rates by the donation only, and visitors may have chance encounters with local fishermen, basket weavers, and other call Ngombo Island home. Rwanda's tourism industry is showing an early possible niche just weeks after CNN travel staff put the country on their list of best destination to visit in 2023. Officers and junior soldiers in Rwanda Defense Force (RDF) will henceforth wear their army insignia on the chest for combat uniforms. The change applies on the army fatigue for field work in security management or on the battlefield. When it comes to the office uniform, the ranks will still be worn on the shoulders. As observed, for officers who wore the ranks on both shoulders, or for junior soldiers who wore a ranking patch in a yellow or sky blue for the Air Force on the right shoulder, they were all put in a military green color to be worn on the chest part of the uniform shirt. It is a uniform similar to that of the British or United States Army. According to some military analysts, wearing the army insignia in such a manner creates some form of protection for officers, where it will be difficult to single out the army commander as a specific target. Rank is an important symbol in the military because it is what classifies an officer or a non-commissioned officer and gives them the authority to perform military services. We'll be back shortly with economic news.
Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi.
The trading session recorded a total turnover of 10,526,500 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 3 deals on the fixed income market, while the equities market remained quiet. Equities counters closed as follow. Bralirwa at 170 Rwandan francs, Bank of Kigali at 272 Rwandan francs, I&M Rwanda at 43 Rwandan francs, Simirwa at 120 Rwandan francs, MTN Rwanda at 175, Equity at 440 Rwandan francs, Kenya Commercial Bank at 328 Rwandan francs, National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs, Uchumi Supermarket Limited at 104 Rwandan francs, and Narandesh Buffalo at 526 Rwandan francs. The exchange rate today, the United States dollar was buying 1,062 and was selling 1,083 Rwandan francs. The British pound was buying 1,290 and was selling 1,316. The euro was buying 1,134 and was selling 1,157 Rwandan francs. The Tanzanian shilling was buying 0.45 and was selling 0.46 Rwandan francs. The Kenyan shilling was buying 8.5 and was selling 8.7 Rwandan francs. The Ugandan shilling was buying 0.28 and was selling 0.29 Rwandan francs. The Burundian francs was buying 0.50 and was selling 0.52 Rwandan francs. We'll be back shortly with international news.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
China's new foreign minister, Qin Gang, is starting his term with a week-long trip to 5 African countries, the foreign ministry announced on Monday. Qin, who until recently was ambassador to the United States, will visit Ethiopia, Gabon, Angola, Benin and Egypt from January 9th to January 16th. Spokesperson Wang Wenbin said at a daily media briefing in Egypt, Qin will also meet the Secretary General of the Arab League. The new foreign minister is following in the footsteps of his predecessors, who have far more than 3 decades started each year with a trip to Africa. Wang said it shows that China attaches great importance to the traditional friendship with Africa and the development of China-Africa relations. The U.S. is battling China for influence in Africa, with President Joe Biden making an appeal to African leaders at a summit in Washington in December. China has become a major trading partner with the continent and an investor in infrastructure and mining projects. Qin, aged 56 years old, was appointed foreign minister on December 30th. He succeeded Wang Yi, aged 69, who replaced Yang Jiechi as the government's top foreign policy official. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said Sunday his ruling African National Congress, ANC, was determined to fight against crime and corruption after a series of graft scandals have damaged the party's popularity. Ramaphosa was speaking at celebrations to mark the ANC's 111th anniversary. The day is used to outline the party's program of action and set the tone of the year ahead. It is also known as the January 8th statement. He said, "We'll continue to heed your messages, which you have articulated very clearly about the government, our movement taking steps to rid corruption out of South Africa life." Ramaphosa, who was re-elected as ANC leader in December, also said that ending blackouts and solving the energy crisis is one of the party's top priorities. He has considered that load shedding was harming the country's economic growth when South Africa is currently on stage 3 power cuts. South Sudan has relaunched its bid to write a new constitution a decade since the first attempt was halted by civil war. But the attempt could be marked by bickering by top unity government leaders over appointments. President Salva Kiir signed the constitution-making process bill 2022 into law in December, paving the way for the establishment of a team of drafters who were to put up a proposed supreme law within 2 years. The new law allows restructuring of the National Constitutional Review Commission, the team set up 10 years ago, but which must be retrooped to reflect current realities. President Salva Kiir, according to the new law, needs to appoint the team in consultation with coalition partners under the revitalized agreement on the resolution of conflict in South Sudan, the peace deal that helped end the civil war in 2018. The deal brought into government 5 main political movements: Transitional Government of National Unity led by President Salva Kiir, CPLM in opposition led by Vice President Riek Machar, CPLM former detainees, South Sudan Opposition Alliance and other political parties. As the country prepared for the important milestone, President Kiir and Dr. Machar this week clashed over the sacking of a top regional state official, indicating unsealed cracks in their unity government. Kenya's President William Ruto has not always been seen as having a strong foreign and regional policy. But 100 days into his first term, he can count several achievements he has made with every head of state in the Horn of Africa, promising collaboration to address enduring problems such as conflict and hunger and business. Dr. Ruto came to power in September last year, largely as an underdog with an unclear foreign policy. His predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta, had worked up the ladder from an isolated suspect of crimes against humanity at the International Criminal Court to a darling of the West because of his charisma and charm in addressing regional security and integration issues. This week, during a televised joint interview with Kenyan media of state at the State House, Nairobi, President Ruto spoke passionately about his regional plan. He said, "You know that we're mobilizing the region as well as international support for our regional peace initiative to make sure our region is stable so that we can drive our economy." He added, "I spoke with the President of Sudan, junta leader Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and agreed with him that it is time to have an intergovernmental authority on development meeting for us to help our brothers and sisters in South Sudan." In his first 100 years, President Ruto made a marathon of talks and tours. He toured Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, Egypt, DR Congo, South Sudan, and Eritrea. Completing a regional circuit outside the continent, he visited the US and South Korea. He also went to the UK for Queen Elizabeth's funeral. And that brings us to the end of today's program. Let us look at the headlines once more. President Paul Kagame will be among several leaders to be honored with the African Icon Award at the inaugural African Heritage Concert and Awards. Senators have elected François-Xavier Kalinda as the new Senate President, replacing Augustin Iyamuremye, who resigned recently on grounds of illness. President Paul Kagame have consoled children involving in a school bus on Monday, January 9th, and wished them a quick recovery. China's new Foreign Minister Qin Gang is starting his term with a week-long trip to 5 African countries. South Sudan's President Cyril Ramaphosa said Sunday his ruling African Nation Congress, ANC, was determined to fight against crime and corruption after a series of graft scandals have damaged the party's popularity. We're going to play you a speech of His Excellency President Paul Kagame. Stay tuned and listen to it.